Hi, I'm John from the YouTube channels Pro Craps and Casino Gaming TV. This year's Craps for the Cure is going to be held November 11th and 12th in Las Vegas at Casino Quest. The whole thing will be streamed live on the Casino Quest YouTube channel. This year, obviously, we're raising money for veterans moving forward, which helps to raise service animals for veterans with PTSD. It costs $50,000 to raise one dog. That's our goal this year. Let's put one dog into one veteran's house as a group. Join us again for 20 hours over 2 days of straight up craps play, talk, competitions, dice throwing, strategy breakdowns, dealing practice, you name it. If it's got to do with craps, we're doing it for 20 straight hours to raise money for our vets. Looking forward to seeing you out there live at Casino Quest or on their YouTube channel. Again, if you want to donate, there's plenty of chances to donate at crapsforthecure.com. We have auction items, raffle items, event ticketing while you're there, and of course, live donations and pledges taken during the broadcast. Can't wait to see you there. Can't wait to hook up one vet with a dog. Let's get this done, everybody. See you on Veterans Day weekend. In the meantime, God bless. All right. Good morning, family. Welcome to Coffee and Craps with John from Pro Craps on Casino Gaming TV. We got a big day today. We have an in-studio, virtually in-studio guest today to talk to us a little bit more about veterans moving forward. But before that, let's go in. Actually, I want to show you something. Before we go into the preview of the day, I got a little nugget in the mail yesterday, day before. I showed Jen and Ian and some other guys, but check this out. This is going to be the uniform, I suppose, that we're going to be wearing, the folks that are working. This is our CGTV 23. It's drab green with camo, Craps for the Cure. 23 is the year, by the way. And we have our logo there on the sleeve. You can see the sleeve logo. So there it is. There's the Jen, Ian, myself, Jeff, Chris, Craig. Be wearing those things all weekend for the event. Those are pretty cool. I'm pretty psyched about that. All right, so what's happening today? We got some stuff going on here. Craps for the Cure, I want to show you a couple of the new auction items that we've got. New raffle items came in yesterday. That one from Toothpick Ted, one from Gargoyle. So I want to showcase those here in a little bit. But the real thing is we've got Lori from Veterans Moving Forward with us to talk to us about the cause. What are they doing? How does it work? We have a lot of questions that I want to ask anyway, but this is a great time in chat. Put a big old letter Q in front of your question, and I'll filter the chats so I can find those. If you've got questions for Lori about what Vets Moving Forward does, how it got started, whatever you want to know, ask them in chat. I will put them on screen and ask Lori as we go here. And then, of course, after that, we'll do a little bit of a recap, and I'll try and make $1 million in the craps table. So that's going to be our morning. But really, what I want to do here is just get off of my face and let's meet Lori. I got to put you on there. Let's change your camera. There you go. Good morning, Lori. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, this is great. I'm so excited about this. We've talked a few times on the phone, but the folks in Craps Land have not talked to you. So if you would give us all like just the basics. What is Vets Moving Forward? How did it get started? Where did the idea come from? And yeah, we'll start there.
So the organization started in 2010. And the reason it was started is there was a military veteran who could not find a service dog organization for her husband, based on when he served and based on some different issues. So she said, okay, well, I'll just start my own organization. And so they applied for a nonprofit. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit. And she started this company with a business partner. And from there, it's just grown. It started out as an all volunteer organization. They were placing some dogs here and there. When it's all volunteer, you can only do so much. You need to have an army and a village and a lot of people to accomplish the goal. And so in 2019, we went through some restructuring and added staff, including my position, a full-time trainer, an executive director. But we're a staff of 4 and mighty volunteers of 50. And so what we do is,
wow.
Yep. So there's me, the CEO president, the head trainer program director, and an assistant trainer. So staff of 4, but again, we couldn't do it without our volunteers. So what we do is we train service dogs, therapy dogs, slash facility dogs, and emotional support dogs for veterans at no cost to the veteran or their family. So it's generally a service dog program is 2 years. It takes about 2 years to train a dog. We get them the puppies when they're about 8 weeks old, and then they get into our program, and we train them for a year in basic skills, and then after about a year, they're matched with their veteran. And matched with a veteran, we've been looking at what a veteran needs, and are they looking for a PTSD dog? Are they looking for mobility? And then once they're matched, we train that dog specifically for that veteran. So, PTSD, they tell us their triggers. Is it they're scratching, they're sneezing, shaking their leg? Do they have nightmares? Then we train the dog to disrupt that. Whether it be if they're scratching their leg, the dog would put their head on their lap. Or if they have nightmares, we want to know: do you want them to turn on the light, the dog to turn on the light, to pull the blanket off, to get into bed with you? What is it that you prefer for this dog to do? And we train that specifically. And so that's what we do. Our dogs all come from breeders, and many people say, "Oh, there are so many sheltered dogs. Why don't you use shelter dogs?" Because we don't know the temperament of that shelter dog. You don't know if that dog itself may have PTSD, and
Mhm.
so you have to know a background. So our dogs come from breeders that have service lines. They raise and train service lines, whether it be master hunter dogs, whether it be bed bug detection dogs, seizure alert service dogs. So we have breeders right here in our own area. We're not flying across the country spending donor money to get dogs when we have dogs right in our area. So we raise and train. We start out with general obedience. Our trainer calls 100 hands in 100 days. So that means that the dog is getting 100 different experiences, and 100 different people in 100 days.
Seriously. So it's not phased by anything.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Wow.
And so, that's just it. And our dogs are very well trained. They're service dogs. And to
Mhm.
kind of give you a little, what is a service dog? That is a definition that is recognized by the ADA. And a service dog has to have a task to mitigate a disability.
Mhm.
So, and that's what they do. And the task could be medical alert, it could be seizure alert. And that is something you don't have to share. There's 2 questions. Is this a service dog? And they can ask you what this service dog does. And all you can say, it's a medical alert dog. You do not have to disclose what this dog does for you. That's not the
Okay.
ADA rule. But that is a service dog. So if people are like, oh, my emotional support dog wants to go to, the restaurant doesn't have to allow that. So a dog that trains PTSD, is mitigating a disability, is the definition of a service dog.
That's interesting. I didn't know there was a distinction there. Actually, I was wondering
Yeah,
that. So, service dog versus emotional support animal. Like, this is not a peacock that I'm traveling on an airplane with. This is actually a dog that's
correct.
trained for me, right?
There are two animals that are recognized as service, that can be service animals, and that is a dog and a miniature pony, a miniature horse. And the reason you are like, a
Really?
horse, a miniature horse, because it may be somebody who is larger, who needs for mobility or needs that, and that animal can cover that. So a
No.
miniature, you're talking miniature. Yeah.
Still, I never would have considered a miniature horse as an option. That's interesting.
Yep. Yep. So,
So, what breeds
and
what breeds work
horses
the best?
also pick up on people's feelings,
Yeah,
so,
for
but
sure. Dogs and people are so connected. What are the
yes.
breeds that seem to is always the same breed, or are there breeds that do you find it work
For
best?
us right now, yes, we do Labrador retrievers.
Mhm.
And the reason being, labs were created way back when to please man. And so they want to learn, they want to please you. And we also deal with puppy raisers who have the dog when the dog's not in school. So they come to school, which is training. They come to school 3 to 5 times a week. So in the evenings, weekends, and vacations, the dog has to go somewhere because currently we don't have a facility that we can house them overnight.
Mm.
So our puppy raisers are volunteers who have families, who have kids, who have other pets,
Ah,
and a lab will adjust to a home easier than anything. Also, their health history is good. We used to deal with golden retrievers, but they have a history of cancer. They're, so you may have a young veteran who would have got a dog, and 5 or 6 years later, his dog passes on or gets cancer, and you're like, oh, okay, now he needs a second dog, which we do. We do that. It's not a one and done
mhm.
with us. If your dog retires, we will train for another one for you. So that's generally what we use. If somebody's looking for a hyperallergenic, we try to.
Oh no, we lost her. Let's see what happens. Hold on, guys. Oh, there we go.
I'm
We're back.
here.
We lost you for a minute there. Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. You were talking about the hypoallergenic type dogs. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so we try to find those, but they're not easy to come by and they're very expensive.
Hmm. That's interesting. I actually didn't know that. We had talked a few times. I didn't know that you had the dogs go to a family home, like a what did you call that? What were those that role called? They're not
They're puppy raisers.
puppy raisers.
Puppy
Okay, so they stay
raisers.
in a home. So they're
They're
not like
volunteers.
they aren't like in some, you know,
Uh-huh.
facility. They're actually in a home getting sort of normalized to people at the same time you're coming to school with them every day. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's super cool.
Because you want them to experience home life also.
Sure. Right, be used
Just
to it, I guess, right?
because they are going to be living in a home with a veteran.
Okay.
So you want them to experience a home life.
So you get them at about 8 weeks, right? You say you train them for about a year, and then it's a year
Yes.
with. So the year with the vet. What does the year with the vet look like? Are you flying the
The
vet
year
in and
with
out,
the
or how
vet,
does that happen?
if they're close, we encourage them to be in at least monthly. Um, and we've had that. If they're not, our trainer flies out. Once we know what the veteran needs, we're training for that. Then
Hmm.
our program director will fly out with the dog to the veteran's home to do a home visit and bring the dog and see if that's, it's working. They'll come to our training center before then to see if they're a match, because you can be a match in physical, but it could be not be a match in personality. The dogs
Hmm.
choose their veterans. They choose
Yeah.
who they want to go with. And so then we fly out and we may do a training out there and may leave the dog for a month. And then they come back to the veteran comes back to our training facility and trains for 2 weeks here directly.
Okay. So what is the how do I ask this question? Right? The average, and maybe you can't disclose it, I guess. The average age of the vets that you serve, are they more recent
Um,
vets or are they more older?
well, no, because we're one of the few organizations that serves all wars. So we serve from Vietnam to, post 9/11 to,
Hmm.
so we get all ages. We've placed a
Yeah.
dog with, a man in his 60s. We've placed a dog with somebody in their 30s. So it just depends. We are nationwide. We serve all wars and we're not just PTSD, and we serve physical and mental. So
So
there's
can
not
you
a lot of
say,
organizations that do that.
all right, when you say that you're one of the few organizations that services all veterans of all wars,
Hmm.
that's I didn't really, again, you're educating me. I didn't know that was a thing that some services don't service veterans from
Correct.
all wars. That seems
Correct.
kind of shocking that you wouldn't help a vet out from some, is
There
that,
are some organizations that they're post 9/11 and PTSD. And they make
really?
that clear. They make it very clear in their
So it's
mission
just, okay.
statement. And they make that very clear. Or, they'll only go back so far, or they'll only do PTSD, or they're
Hmm.
only, so there are others that,
Yeah.
do wars, but, it's getting to where it's hard because if you're doing physical and mental, you're learning, you have to have a dog that has to be a certain size for somebody who needs it for balance and mobility. So
Mm,
you're looking for several different types of dogs to, versus if you're just working with PTSD, you're just looking at personality of the dog.
sure, sure. Does it present a problem? I guess that here's a good follow-up, I guess. If somebody who's coming back from a recent war, post
Mm-hmm.
9/11 or 9/11, versus somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's got PTSD stemming from Vietnam era, does
Mm-hmm.
that person present a tougher challenge for the dog? Because it's been a while, and a lot of those vets have sadly been ignored for many years, right? And suffered in silence
Some
for
of
so
it,
long.
what may kick in is their PTSD has been there, but it's been dormant. But then let's say they're empty nesters or their wife passes on or their husband. Then that conjures up that, you know, some of those memories that maybe they repressed for a while.
Mm,
Um, what we do require is anybody who is applying for a dog for PTSD has to be in active therapy. That is
oh,
a
okay,
requirement.
okay.
So there may be those older veterans that aren't in therapy, but that's a requirement because you just can't. A dog is a help, it's a medical device, it doesn't cure all. So you have to have that therapy combined with a dog. Then you're going to make that progress. And our hope is, it changes you from living in your home and not going anywhere and being on 20 medications because, VA believes in medicating their veterans.
Hmm.
It's an easier way to round things.
Yeah.
So our goal is to, stop suicide attempts, to stop not living your life, to be afraid. And we've had our success stories. If you listen to the testimonials in our success stories, we had a veteran, young veteran, and he was on 13 medications. Didn't leave. He barely left his house. He was trying to go to college, and our organization went to and did a presentation. And he's like, I don't know, maybe I could benefit from a service dog. So he went through the process, got a little bit older service dog, and he stopped being antisocial and he got his master's degree, his PhD.
Wow.
Um, he is only on one medication now. Um, he has a job that, you know, is a very social, he works for Amazon in an upper level management position.
Wow.
And he would have never got there without getting a service dog.
That's insane. That's awesome. I mean, I'm a teacher too, right? I teach at a coding school. We call it a boot camp, which also might be a
Mm-hmm.
trigger word for some people, I guess. But our boot camp, we have a lot of vets. We used to take the GI Bill, vet tech
Mm-hmm.
program, that kind of thing. So it helps fund their way through school. But
Mm-hmm.
our school is really intense, like
Mm-hmm.
really intense. The training is
Yeah.
super hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's the weight of the world. Most people are coming out of like whatever their life used to be, an accountant,
Mm-hmm.
and like, I'm done with that. I'm going to go to be a coder. We get a lot of vets. They're
Mm-hmm.
coming back into civilian life and like, okay, I'm going to go work in software, and they go,
Yeah.
this is like, I wasn't ready for this at all. We trigger so much PTSD in our vets with not knowing it. That's how, like, when I
True.
found your organization, like, this is a perfect match. It's like, I've seen that the PTSD trigger happen in
Mm-hmm.
person and virtually. Virtually, it's 10 times harder for me to watch
Mm-hmm.
somebody have an episode,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh man, and then they go black on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Where in person, you can kind of feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how real and how deep it is,
Mm-hmm.
PTSD.
Yeah.
And you're
Yep.
talking about what the dogs do, just that being there for them.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting
Yep.
goosebumps over here, but it's just, you know,
Do you do all of your training virtual, or do you have in
we had
person
to,
classes?
we have some in-person classes now. We used to be all in person. COVID pushed us
Yeah.
back home. And
Yes.
so we went
Yes.
all virtual. And like you say, when you're virtual with a veteran, a
Yep.
lot of times the Zoom call goes dark, the lights go
Yep.
out, they
Yep.
disconnect a little bit, and you can't get them
Yep.
back in person. I can
Correct.
see it like I guess, and you
Yep.
can stop class, you can take a break, and we
Yep.
can be, a little bit more aware, but virtually
Yeah.
it's almost impossible. And like I said, when Adam connected me with you, I thought, what a perfect,
Yep.
because PTSD is so real and it affects
It
so many,
is.
every vet's got it to some degree because you
Yes.
just can't go and
Correct.
not see and not,
Correct.
you know, contain that or whatever, you know? So
Yeah, and if you think back when having any sort of a mental health issue was really that really ended your career, or it
mhm.
ended a lot of things for military personnel. So I think
Yeah.
we still have people who don't speak out that they do have PTSD. They keep it hidden because
Oh
whether or
yeah.
not it be that they have a job in the government, that doesn't really so there's many people who are out there suffering because they keep it a secret.
Oh, no question. I know a lot of guys who are just like, I don't want to talk about it, but
Mhm.
I'm just gonna power through this thing,
Yep,
and I
exactly.
think that's obviously that's our nature to some
Yep.
degree, but in reality, that
But
getting
you
raising your
don't
hand is a big thing.
realize how you're affecting your family by powering through it.
Hmm.
You don't see that, you don't feel like they want to go out, you don't have date night with your spouse, or you don't go, to your kids' school programs because you're dealing with it. You don't, but you're dealing with it by staying at home and, making yourself just, you're in one little box. You don't want to leave your
Yeah.
little box. You want to feel safe because you know what's going on around you. You're not sitting in a restaurant with your back to a door and you don't know what's going on. There's just
Yeah.
you
See,
either put yourself in a box and you become a hermit, or then those thoughts really take over and you try to end your own life. And
man,
our
those are
goal
things
is
that
to make
most of
sure
us
that
can't.
we can get away from that.
Yeah, wow, those are things that most of us can't even relate to. Like, so, like you say, sitting with your back to a door. I don't even give it a second thought. But to a vet, that's
Uh-huh.
actually that's a
Uh-huh.
yeah. You're wow.
Yep.
It's so I have some questions from the crowd here.
Sure.
Just a few here. One from a friend named Chris. How many service animals do you place in a year?
Our facility is a little small. This year we will probably place. We've already placed 3 service dogs, and one's a service dog and a therapy dog. We've placed an emotional support animal, and we hope to get another therapy dog done this year. So about
Okay.
6. But
See,
you're like, oh, that sounds good. But we have like 60 plus applications in our pipeline.
sure. Well, that leads to the next question. How does a vet? So I have two guys asking the same question, Michael and Dan. Um, owning a dog can be cost prohibitive for one. Is there help to the vets there as far as the continuing cost of ownership of the dog,
We
or
try to
as far as
it's part of the application that you were, able to at least take care of, you know, the dog. We try to find you veterinarian discounts. So we try
Mhm.
to work with a veterinarian in your area and see if, we can get some sort of discount. We have a food vendor that provides, veteran rates.
Okay,
So we do our best to help you, um, but you also have to be able to handle some of the expenses on your own because we have taken and for 2 years raised and trained this dog um, at $40,000 to $50,000. And
sure.
if you were to go get a dog on your own, somebody to purchase the dog, you would have to still get that dog trained if you want a true, a service
Yeah,
dog. It's hard for veterans to train their old dogs. They can go to that program, but
mhm,
that's just a whole another level of,
totally.
So if you were to get your own dog, purchase your own dog for, $5,000, and then you're going to have to train that dog, that dog trained, which could be another 10 to 15 to $20,000. Okay, so think about
Mhm.
that.
Yeah,
Your
yeah,
expenses could be start after you have a well-trained service dog,
sure.
versus getting your own. So,
So there's no cost to the vet to receive the dog.
correct.
There's this cost to them to. So that's what Dan's question
Once
was.
they
Really
have
quick.
their dog that
Right.
is, you know, been
Hmm.
fully trained and it's now ours. Now, something else we do is even though the veteran gets the dog, we retain ownership. And the reason why we do that is let's say, Miss Veteran Smith passes on. Okay,
Mm.
what happens to that dog? Who,
Right.
now our focus would be, well, if the family's been involved or there's, something, then, we would gladly let that family have that dog. Okay. Because if they've been
Sure.
involved, but let's say there's nobody involved or there's family that don't like dogs and they put that dog in a shelter. So,
Right.
so we retain ownership through the life of the dog.
Okay. Does the VA help at all? Is there any government support for you? No. So it's all y'all. Okay.
It's us. That's us
Wow.
through donations, fundraisers like the one that you
Yeah.
guys are doing, and grants. So we're
Yeah.
hard at work on in
Seems
the
like
fundraising file.
it seems like somebody at Trupanion or a animal insurance company could get behind and provide at least some insurance to cover like the vet bills and that kind of thing. That's is
Yeah,
that
they don't. Well, yeah.
because that's
um,
expensive. I mean, but,
It is expensive,
you know,
and we have insurance on. We pay for insurance on our dogs, but they don't cover half of the stuff you need them to cover.
right.
So you pay a premium. It's animal insurance is just like health insurance. You pay a premium, and
Yeah.
you still have a copay, or they'll only pay certain things, and they'll deny other charges,
Hmm.
and So health insurance is just not. It's the pet insurance is not any better than human
Yeah,
insurance.
they try hard. We have pet insurance for our new pup, and they're everything they can do not to pay for it is what they're doing.
Correct.
That's what
Correct.
they do. They want to, but
Correct.
at the same time, for a veteran, like I always say this, for a vet, I can't imagine that we're not paying for things. Like I look at what the vets are going through on all these things. Like, how are we not covering that? How is a vet ever paying for a doctor visit? How is a vet ever paying to go to the dentist?
Yeah.
How is a vet ever paying for anything like you're doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Correct.
it's mind blowing that that's the case. So
Yeah.
I'm going to actually switch gears. I'm going to show, because there's a question here from Waylon. How do we donate to the organization? I'm going to show the website that we've built for the. I'm not sure if you've even seen it yet or not, but let me switch my screen. I think when I do this, you can still see the screen too. So give me a second here to do this. Can you see the screen?
I can see the screen.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here and make this a little bit bigger. So this is the crapsforthecure.com website. And you'll get a sense here of what the schedule is. So we're going to have 2 days of fun and games, starting at 10 o'clock Saturday the 11th. We have guests and just a bunch of lessons and that kind of thing going for a couple days here. You'll be part of the first session at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. We'll have you back on again and tell the story again to the whole world, which is kind of cool. But through the website, you can make donations. So I click the donations button on crapsforthecure.com. Pick your donation amount. As you do this, you can choose to also pay the fee, like the credit card processing fee. So 100% of what you want to donate goes right. This goes literally, and Lori and I set this up last week. This donation goes directly into your bank account. It's directly connected. 100% of the money comes from here, goes right to veterans moving forward, right into the bank. It's directly hooked up. So we're going to track through this link here how many donations we've gotten so far. That's going to be kind of the plan that we've got. Additionally to the straight donations here, when we're doing the live show in the chat during the YouTube broadcast, we're going to have Veterans Moving Forward as the featured organization in the chat. So somebody in chat can do what they call a super chat. And in real time, just drop their credit card into Google and donate live during the show. That also 100%, Google takes care of all the fees. 100% of that goes right to you. We'll be tracking that as well. And then, of course, the fun thing that we did was have this raffle. So we've got a bunch of auction items here, like a free cruise, free seminars. Toothpick Ted, by the way, donated look at this thing here. He hand poured fine silver and made like silver dice, right? Just for this. And so what we're doing is selling raffle tickets for $10 for this thing here. We'll sell up to 100 of them. And so one person will win this for $10 and maybe it'll raise 1,000. And that's kind of what we're doing. We've got also a new, for folks who haven't seen it yet, a new table felt. This came from a fellow named Gargoyle, who's a good friend of ours, good friend of the show. This is a felt from a casino that has since closed. They closed during COVID, never opened back up again. This table is one of these, it's a felt from a real table. It's probably got $1 million on it in losses and wins. So this is also from the Rancho Casino, live casino use felt that's going to be auctioned off too. So all these things hopefully will combine to get us to, I think I've got a running tote board, which is not accurate yet. This is going to be tracking how many raw donations we've had, how many auction bids, and we have actually people bidding on the auction items already before we even started. Of course, we're not in person yet. Nobody's donated online. We just opened it up yesterday. and the super chats won't be available until the live broadcast. So this will track our progress in all the live stuff. Some people are bringing checks, so we'll have the in-person donations when we have the big check presentations. So yeah, the goal is 50K. The goal is 50K. I know for a fact that somebody has raised already close to 5,000 coming into this thing. So that number will jump the second we open the show, and we'll have a live running total. So yeah, if you want to donate to this organization, right here, crapsforthecure.com, crack that donate button and do it right here. Pick your number and let it fly, Waylon. And that's going to be, there's your answer to the question. Moving forward, your organization's website, let me go back to our homepage here, Veterans Moving Forward, has massive amounts of information. You've got, if you go to the About Us page, look at the News and Impact section, there's all these blog posts, there's all these videos, you've got interviews with vets, a lot of great stories come out of this thing. So I think if you have the time, get to Veterans Moving Forward. Their website, it's vetsfwd.org, and check it out. You can spend hours here. I know I gave this website to somebody. They were like, "Oh my God!" They said, "I spent the whole day crying watching these stories because the impact that you have, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just throwing money into some vacuum where 10% goes to the thing. Like 100% of our money is going to some dog, and it's like paying your trainer to train the dog and paying for plane tickets to get the vet back and forth. And at the end of the day, it's going into somebody's house, which I think that's going to blow my mind when it's all said and done. It's such a cool thing.
Well, and you look at everything, Kirby's like, well, how come it costs so much? Well, feeding a dog for 2 years is not cheap. Veterinary care is not cheap. If a veteran needs a harness because they need mobility issues, which is a custom-made or a harness made to the veteran size and the size of the dog, those start at $800. For one apparatus, that we cover. We cover that. So, we're very conscientious of making sure our money goes into our program. That's why when I said we don't fly all over the country and spend donor money to get dogs, when we have in our own backyard, 30 miles down the road, dogs that, we can, get. And, breeders try to give us a discount or, maybe donate a dog. So, we do our level best to make sure our funds go to our program, so.
Yeah, well, that's the thing to me. When I was on the hunt this year for who should we be supporting, everything about your organization just raises every green flag for me. It's like you're small. All this you're talking about, how it directly goes in. It's just and the impact, like I said, knowing so many vets that suffer with PTSD and knowing what this is going to actually do. I'm so glad that we agreed to work together on this. I think it's going to be a great match for us. Yeah,
I am too. And I've kind of talked to you, future wise, if we can raise that 50,000, which just so you know, you're supporting a dog for a veteran, but then whatever logo you choose, you could, we look at you getting to name that dog after a fallen veteran. We appreciate anybody who supports us. So you guys supporting a veteran and a dog, okay, we want to make sure you get your due credit for, and, we said, well, maybe there's some, in the future, this dog could, if we pay a visit, if we continue our relationship. So, you guys are changing a life. And, but then you can also get word out about, a veteran, if you name it, if you have a special veteran, then that goes on our website about that veteran, so you're saving a current veteran's life, but you can also honor a veteran from that has passed on.
That is so cool. Yeah. Wow. Whew. This is such heavy stuff. I'm just, you make it not feel quite so heavy, which is cool.
I've been here since the 2019 changeover, and I have watched so many personalities change once they walk through the door. I'll give you a little story. The first veteran that walked through our door, he was Vietnam era, so older gentleman, had already tried to commit suicide 3 times. Thankfully, unsuccessfully. His counselor, his PTSD counselor, got a hold of us and said, "I really think this gentleman could benefit from a dog, and this is our last hope. This is our last because I don't know if he will survive another attempt."
Eesh.
So the gentleman came to visit our program after he got through the application process. And when he walked in, his head was down,
Oh.
shuffling. You could just tell his body was depressed. He was depressed. You could tell. And he actually met the dog the first time via Zoom, if you can believe that,
Huh.
because it was COVID times. And so we have a video of the dog and the veteran. The dog's face is on Zoom and the veteran, and he's waving at him and everything. Um, but then when he left that day, he was head was a little higher.
Hmm.
You could already tell that he met the dog, they meshed. You could already tell like he was like feeling a little better. So each visit got better. Well, his wife was deathly afraid of dogs, deathly afraid. Well, you can't have that because that isn't going to work.
Yeah.
She, for him, came in and forced herself to learn how to not be afraid. So not only were we training the veteran, we were training the veteran's spouse. And he said, I have to do it for him. I have to do it for him. So he would drive. Then he just started to like come in, and he was happy. There was a day he came in, he forgot to grab his cane out of the car because he was so excited to come in and see his dog. So he lived only about an hour and a half away, 2 hours. So he was able to come up monthly
Hmm.
and see his dog. And so his dog was puppy raised by a 15-year-old teen who had the support of his family. And this kid was amazing in training this dog. And so, and the dog actually graduated 2 months early. That's how much interest the youth took in to training this dog at home. And then everybody said where we were a little worried. He was 15. He'll be 17 when the dog graduates. It's a teenager. How's he going to handle this? But he met the veteran and he hung out with the veteran, and the veteran and him stayed in
Oh, that's
touch.
cool.
So at graduation, we have a graduation after when every dog is placed with their veteran. We were all in tears, and the 17-year-old was very stoic because he's like, look what I did. I helped change a veteran's life. My dog went to a veteran. So we had to overcome the wife. We had to overcome several different things.
Hmm.
And now his testimonials or his wife's testimonial, he hasn't thought about suicide since he got his dog. And now this veteran is out paying it back. He's going to other veterans organizations, telling them about us and
Wow.
telling them how a service dog changed his life. So the dog, y'all would go, how they do this. The dog brings him his meds. Now, dogs don't tell time, but dogs know routines. So the dog will bring him his meds in the morning, and then he goes upstairs, checks on the wife, makes sure that the wife is, doing okay. Then he comes back down and stays with his veteran. And then the veteran takes meds at night. So because he's on his meds consistently, suicide attempts are not
Yeah.
there anymore. He's had back surgeries, knee surgeries, and never once has he thought about that. So,
That's amazing. So
so
cool.
that's how,
So that's
my
three.
first story of changing the life of a veteran.
Well, it's three. I mean, think about that. The wife got some training. The 17-year-old kid who
Yep.
17-year-old kids in today's world
Yep.
don't have a
Yep.
whole lot of whatever. And now
Yep.
he's all in on vets and gets it.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
that's huge impact. It's this is so cool. I'm just
And the veteran wrote him a letter for college.
oh cool. That's cool.
Gave him, we don't know, a monetary thing, to help him, and they're still in touch. They're
Mhm.
still in touch, and they talk to each other, and they'll FaceTime each other, and it's just a beautiful relationship.
That's pretty awesome. Well, like I said, the impact is wide if the net is small, and that's how I look
Mhm.
at this organization. It's really
Mhm.
cool. And like I said, it's great. I don't have any more questions from the crowd, but I have to cut because I have actually a day job too. But um, I can't appreciate your time anymore. And
Yep.
I'm looking forward to meeting you in person next week. And again, Lori will
I'm
be with
excited
us.
to.
Yeah. You'll be with us in Vegas at Casino
I
Quest, and
will.
you'll see what a bunch of degenerates we are. We just, like I said, we're just going to be.
Hey, I fit in anywhere.
We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be great. And I can't wait to get your message out to everybody. And
Yep.
we'll have
Yep.
some fun. We'll teach you crafts. We'll have a good old time. We'll teach you how
Good.
to throw the dice,
I don't know
and
much. I'm a blackjack person, so learning craps, hey, I'll take that.
you'll see what all the excitement's about. Everybody's going nuts all the time at the craps table. Now you'll understand what the allure of this game is. It's an unwinnable game, but we try.
Yep. There you go.
So, all right. Well, Lori, thanks for your time. Thanks for what you do, and on behalf of everybody watching today, thanks for what the organization does too. Just pass that along. How impressed everybody is. Everybody in chat's like, "Wow, what a great organization." We're just stoked to be a part of this, even on a small level. So
we're very, proud that you guys chose us to be your beneficiary this year. We're excited to put our message out to a whole different crowd.
And we have a lot of older folks, a lot of vets. I work with vets every day, so that word is going to spread a little bit as a result.
Yes.
So like I said, thanks again for being with me this morning. I appreciate that.
Yep.
I will see you in Vegas.
Sounds good. Thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, that is going to wrap for the morning. No crap display today. We'll leave it as the interview. I think the interview stands on its own. Great to have Lori here with us today. And again, lots more to be asked when we get to Vegas. I'm sure we'll have many, many more questions. David and everybody else will have stuff to talk about too. So with that said, God bless all of you. God bless those veterans. I don't thank them publicly enough, but thank you. I know the thing is, I know veterans don't like to be thanked for their service. Most of them say, that makes them feel weird. But for those of us who couldn't serve like myself, or who didn't or wanted to or whatever, we have so much respect for you guys and gals. So much respect, and can't be understated how much we appreciate what the veterans stand for, what they do, and what they continue to do, the current active military do for us. So Godspeed, every one of you. God bless all of you. And I will see you tomorrow morning for Friday Follies. We'll have some more fun. I may come back later on today and do a little bit of extra rollouts to finish up that garage show. But with all that said, folks, have a good one. I will see you tomorrow. Happy Thursday. God bless. Bye.